everyone, welcome all to Chosun Yonghwa Review. Today I'm going to do what several of you have been asking for by reviewing a brand new North Korean movie that was released in 2016. Today I am reviewing Uri Jeep Iyagi, known in English as The Story of Our Home. Directed by Ri Jong-Ae and Won Young-sil, this movie is based on the true story of Chang Jong-ha, a high school freshman who decides to drop out of school and help raise 3 orphans. This film was one of 9 North Korean films that was screened at the Busan International Fantastic Film Festival in South Korea, a rare and surprising move on the southern side as North Korean films are typically banned under South Korea's anti-communist laws. The relaxation of the law is just one part of an overall thaw in relations between the two Koreas, and while great for humanitarian purposes, it also allowed this film to see the light of day outside of the DPRK. So stay tuned everyone, and I'll not only review the film, but I'll compare it to North Korean films in the past to show just how much these films have changed in 20 years. Let's get into it.
우리 집에는 엄마가 쓰던 한 권의 책이 있다. 그 책에는 자식들의 먼 앞날까지 그려본 어머니의 꿈이 있었다. 식구들은 그 책을 우리 집 이야기라고 불렀다.
We're given a heartfelt introduction by Un-Jong, the second oldest of 3 children whose hardworking and loving parents tragically died, making them orphans. In their family diary, titled Our Home Story, which catalogs their family from its humble beginnings, she writes about a local high school girl, Ri Jong-Ae, who has taken it upon herself to help raise the 3 orphans so that they can be a family once again. The story proper begins with Un-Jong's younger sister Un-Hyung crying that she can't find her insect net, and that she won't go to school without it. Her aunt hurriedly attempts to go to the market to buy her a new one, which draws protest from Un-Jong, who thinks that her aunt is spoiling them that way. Before she can protest further, our protagonist Ri Jong-Ae arrives with a brand new net for Un-Hyung. Jong-Ae hurries Un-Hyung on her way to school, all the while promising Un-Chol, the younger brother, that she will attend his football match since his older sister Un-Jong has to study.
언니.
This draws the ire of Un-Jong, who feels threatened by Jong-Ae's presence in their lives, as she feels like she is old enough to take care of them by herself. She warns Jong-Ae not to buy anything for her siblings again, and to not attend Un-Chol's game before storming off. When her aunt attempts to apologize on her behalf, Un-Jong tells her to leave too. Her aunt tells Jong-Ae not to be deterred, that Un-Jong is just protective of her siblings and is going through the same pain her other 2 siblings are. The aunt then receives a letter from her nephew who is away on his military service, asking why his mother hasn't returned any of his letters, completely unaware that she has died. During a meeting at the steel mill which Jong-Ae works, she recalls Un-Jong tearfully refusing to live with her parents' co-workers, or to go to an orphanage because she doesn't want to lose her siblings, or their home that they all grew up in. Meanwhile, at school, Un-Jong, normally a star pupil, struggles to pay attention to her studies. Her teacher gives her an ultimatum that if she can't pass her upcoming test, her brother Un-Chol will be taken to live with him. On top of this, the teacher also informs her that her sister Un-Hyung never arrived at school, which prompts them all to search for her. Jong-Ah later finds Un-Hyung with her brother at the soccer field after the game. Un-Hyung apologizes for skipping school and scaring everyone, but explained that she only did it so she could cheer on her brother like her mother used to when she was alive. The kind-hearted Jong-Ae doesn't scold them, but instead gives them some candy she brought and ushers them off to go eat with the rest of his team. Un-Jong happens upon them and begins fuming upon seeing Jong-Ae with them despite telling her not to attend earlier. She brings Jong-Ae aside and tells her to stop spoiling her younger siblings. Before Jong-Ae can explain, Un-Jong continues her rant, asking rhetorically why Jong-Ae is so intent on helping them before accusing her of doing it simply for praise. She storms off in a fit of rage, All the while, Jong-ae looks on with pity. Later that evening, after making dinner, Un-Jong finally caves from the pressure of being unable to care for her two siblings by herself, while simultaneously keeping her grades up. She leaves the house to go for a walk to blow off some steam. She simply sits on a swing and cries, all the while thinking of writing to her brother. Meanwhile, a man from the steel mill their late mother used to work at stops by and offers to help the two younger children fix their broken front door. Jong-ae stops by soon after and the two talk about Un-Jong. They play games with the kids until the man has to leave. When doing so, they see Un-Jong sitting on their front porch. The man gives her his phone number and heads off into the night. Jong-ae gives Un-chol a letter from her brother, and then goes to read a letter she'd written for Un-hyung and Un-chol. Un-chol remarks that Jong-ae's handwriting is exactly like their mother's, which brings them happiness. They jump around and play with Jong-ae. All the while, Un-jong looks at Jong-ae with a faint smile.
우리 엄마 글씨와 비슷하다고 저리도 기뻐하는 정아 언니가 리에가 되지 않았다. 글씨나 같다고 우리 집의 아기가 달라질까? 하지만 그 글씨가 정말 우리 집의 아기를 다르게 써나가게 될 줄 아직은 알 수 없었다.
Later on that night, Un-jong comes to Jong-ae reluctantly, asking for help for 2 weeks so she can study for her exam. She explains that if she can't pass, then the teacher will take Un-chol to live with him. Jong-ae, who is jubilant to see Un-jong coming around, happily accepts her request. She hugs Un-jong from behind and tells her not to worry.
마음나, 모든 게 다 잘 될 거야. 괜찮아. 네 오빠한테 편지도 해야지. 시험이랑 잘 치고 집 걱정하지 말라고. 김은정이도 여전히 공부 잘한다고. 응?
Un-jong writes in her diary about how she secretly loves Jong-ae and describes her as being a kind and warm-hearted person who seeks to share her happiness with others, and that she is the only person whose help she accepted out of everyone else who asked. As the night progresses and the kids have all fallen asleep, Jong-ae begins to read their family diary. Initially reading the entry about the birth of their first child, Un-sok, her heart begins to shatter when she reads about Un-jong coming home with red star stickers that they place all around the diary, and promptly fly the flag of North Korea above their home during a holiday. Meanwhile, the man from the steel mill before, who was actually the General Secretary of the Workers' Party of Korea, Kim Song-hak, holds a late-night meeting to discuss the situation with the orphan children. During the meeting, he praised Ri Jong-ae for sacrificing her free time to help raise these 3 orphan children. Despite others wanting the state to step in to take the children to orphanages, the secretary reminds them of Kim Jong-un's frequent visits to orphanages and his plans to help orphans find homes. Citing this anecdote, he thinks they should allow Jong-ae to stay with the children and that they should simply offer support. Fast forward and we see our heroine Jong-ae at a local party event where she must win a cook-off. Whoever wins first place will win cosmetics, while the third place winner will win school supplies. Jong-ae is declared the winner by the party secretary, who is acting as the judge. However, instead of taking the cosmetics, she gives them to the third place winner for the school supplies. However, on the way home it begins to rain. Jong-ae was supposed to walk Un-hyung home with an umbrella, but suddenly receives a call from her father telling her that her mother is dangerously ill. In the heat of the moment, Jong-ae rushes to see her mother and instructs her friend Song-hae to give Un-hyung the umbrella. Song-hae is unable to find her, however, leaving Un-hyung to walk home in the pouring rain by herself, who quickly becomes ill due to exposure. Jong-ae comes to their home to find a bedridden Un-Jong with a furious and upset Un-Jong by her side. Jong-ae incorrigibly sobs and begs for forgiveness. Later on, after Jong-ae's calls for dinner go unanswered, she investigates and finds them at the local playground. Un-Jong is urging her two siblings to forget about Jong-ae and just let her take care of them. Jong-ae, fed up at this point, finally snaps back, calling Un-Jong hopeless and selfish. She rattles Un-Jong, telling her that she cannot possibly take care of them by herself because she needs to be taken care of herself, and that attempting to raise them single-handedly is only hurting everyone. A now hurt and vulnerable Un-Jong cries out that she still needs a mother too, but that Jong-ae can never be that mother because they are only 3 years apart. With tears still streaming down each other's faces, Un-Jong begs Jong-ae to leave them and just go home, to which Jong-ae breaks down even further.
희망도 없나요? 그래서 가라는데 부모 곁에 가서 하고픈을 실컷 하라는데 왜 그래요? 네가 운종이냐? 예.
The following day after school, Un-Jong is met by Song-hye, Jong-ae's best friend whom she traded with to get the school supplies. Song-hye hands Un-Jong the cosmetics and tells her the story about how she gave them up in order to get school supplies for the kids. She also tells her that it was her to blame for Un-Jong walking home without an umbrella, not Jong-ae's who had a family emergency. She asks Un-Jong to hand Jong-ae the cosmetics herself and apologize to Jong-ae, saying that she doesn't deserve the hate for everything she did for them. Un-Jong, realizing what a horrible mistake she had made the night before, is driven to tears. During the workday, in an effort to cheer Jong-ae up, her coworker surprised Jong-ae with a brand new bicycle with a sign attached saying, "Happy Birthday." Jong-ae, who has been so stressed out that she forgot it was her birthday, is unable to contain her emotions as this is the first kind gesture that anyone has shown her in a long, long time. Her work detail promptly jumps from the shadows, wishing her a happy birthday, all the while praising her for all the hard work she's done for everyone.
생일 선물이 마음에 드니? 네가 무슨 세상이라고 그 전길에 가사하니? 예, 내 출근길이 달라진 게 이상해서 내가 뒤를 밟았어. 현정이네 집까지.
이 자전거는 우리 비운전 동지 탔어냐? 조마도모 생일을 축하합니다.
현장 동지.
She rides her new bike down to Un-Jong's middle school where she finds out she failed her math test intentionally. Un-Jong appears in time to observe Jong-ae beg on her behalf to give Un-Jong another chance to take the test, which ultimately proves successful. This causes Un-Jong to smile and be all the more grateful to have Jong-ae.
언니. 은양아, 이젠 이 넥타이 언니가 달해주겠다고 해.
아니야 오른쪽에 해야 돼? 아니야 오른쪽에 했어.
Later that night, Un-Jong comes home to Jong-ae and her siblings, who all welcome her home with cheers to do well on the upcoming National Math Olympics.
우리 선수 이겨라.
우리 언니 이겨라 우리 누나 이겨라
빰빰빰빰 빠라빠빠빰
When Un-Jong offers her the cosmetics back, Jong-Ae insists on Un-Jong keeping them for herself. She then brings dinner outside. Jong-Ae reminds them that tomorrow is the national holiday for the foundation of North Korea, September 9th, and informs them that she will be spending it with them. The next morning, all three wake up to find Jong-Ae hard at work reinstalling the flagpole atop their house. Jong-Ae, remembering from their diary that it was a tradition to fly the flag on national holidays, quickly instructs the two younger siblings to bring the flag of the DPRK out. They carefully, as a team, attach it to the pole and all embrace together and watch it fly proudly amongst the clouds, as past memories of this tradition with their parents come flooding in.
나 조기빨 우리나라 축구 선수가 돼서 무조건 날래.
그래, 온철이는 희망대.
그 깃발이 부모 없는 우리 집에 제일 먼저 떴다. 참 이상하였다. 깃발은 그 깃발인데 오늘은 웬일인지 눈물이 났다.
As the days pass by, Jong-Ae has moved in at this point, spending every day with the children, getting them dressed for school in the mornings, feeding them breakfast and dinner when they get home. She does activities with the kids much in the same way any mother would, like measuring them when they've grown on the wall, ironing their clothes, or settling sibling disputes. The frequent visits by the party secretary come with gifts and material needs to make everything work like clockwork.
아버지, 난 학교 앞에서
It isn't all sunshine and rainbows for Jong-Ae, however. Her father informs her that her mother's diabetes is getting progressively worse. This is exacerbated when Jong-Ae's mother collapsed from a lack of insulin at the kids' home. With Jong-Ae absent, the kids initially don't know what to do. It isn't until Un-Jong retrieves the woman's phone and calls Kim Song-hak, who promptly calls an ambulance, that they are able to save her.
차라리 아이들이 없을 때 우리 집을
The following morning, as a thanks for saving Jong-Ae's mother, Jong-Ae, along with a local workers' party, arranged to furnish their entire house as a surprise for the kids.
반장 어머니 정말 고맙습니다. 은정아,
Jong-Ae is unable to find the kids, however, and it isn't until midnight that she tracks them down at their aunt's house. When Jong-Ae asks why they ran away, Un-Jong said that she was sorry and felt guilty because she felt like she was robbing Jong-Ae of her dreams by taking care of them.
고맙구나 은정아. 우리 어머니랑 나랑 위해줘서.
Jong-Ae, yet again, tells her that she isn't robbing her of her dreams. She tells Un-Jong that her dream is to see all of them grow up and become successful. She tells Un-Jong that Kim Jong-un is doing a lot for orphans, as it's of special significance to him. She tells Un-Jong that even if she doesn't like her, she will always love her and the rest of her siblings, and warns Un-Jong once more not to worry about her, but to worry about her own dreams instead.
우리의 밝은 미래가 있다고 하시면서 환하게 웃으셨다질 않겠니?
Having said what she needed to say, she walks off into the night.
언니!
She doesn't get far before Un-Jong races to her, however, and quickly embraces her from behind. The two share a heartfelt hug as Jong-Ae tells Un-Jong that she loves her and that she will never be alone, that she will always have Jong-Ae.
은정아.
One of the Workers' Party members finds them and offers to drive the group home. But at the midway point, the group gets out and decides to walk the rest of the way. Jong-Ae tells the kids that the general drove down this highway to visit their steel mill, that they should never forget him. In an act of what's clearly propaganda that kills the pacing of the movie dead, they visit various murals of Kim Il-sung and Kim Jong-il on their way home. Next day, Jong-ae receives a telegram from Un-sok that he is arriving at the train station en route to a new post and would like to see the family. Startled, she calls the party secretary who tells her to be there when he arrives. When he does arrive, he's greeted by his three siblings and the party secretary. They find Jong-ae, who is ashamed and hiding, and bring her to Un-sok. Un-sok tearfully thanks her for looking after his siblings, claiming that he was aware of his mother's death. He and the Workers' Party members shower her with flowers and thank her for all that she's done. The film ends with Jong-ae being recognized by the higher-ups in the North Korean government. For her actions, she's awarded with a brand new, bigger home for herself and the children, as well as a few new children she's taken under her wing. She gives a speech at the Mansudae Assembly Building and is personally thanked by Kim Jong-un himself, although this was not filmed, just mentioned, who gives her the title of Girl Mother and the Mother of the Era. As the credits roll, we see Jong-ae surrounded by Un-Jong, Un-hyang, Un-chol, as well as three new orphans in their new home. Un-jong brings out their family diary and suggests that they write in it. Un-jong hands Jong-ae a pen and asks her to write a new chapter in it. Honored by the gesture, she writes the lyrics to a song praising Kim Jong-un and the Workers' Party of Korea for everything that they do for the country, completely killing the mood of an otherwise tender, precious final moment in the story of our home.
우리 집, 우리의 집은 당의 품. 세상에서 제일 좋은 우리 집 이야기는 앞으로도 계속될 것이다.
Alright, you guys, I am so conflicted right now. I really wish I could say that I love this film. I'm both amazed and disappointed all at once. In trying to coalesce my thoughts into a coherent picture, I keep contradicting myself. On one hand, this film's production values and narrative are amazing, while at the same time, the fucking propaganda absolutely kills the most crucial parts of the movie that would otherwise make this film hands down the best movie in all of North Korean cinema. I feel so let down. Words can't properly express my feelings right now, so let's break it down and see if it comes naturally. First of all, the production values are phenomenal. This is the first North Korean movie that I've ever seen in true HD. That's a big deal when it comes to these movies because normally they look about 20 years behind the West. There are some exceptions, Hong Gil-dong mostly, but to see a presentation that actually looks modern for North Korean cinema, the significance of which cannot be understated. It's clear the North Koreans learned a thing or two from their southern neighbors when it comes to presentation. All of the small camera tricks and filming techniques are there. Camera pans, zooming in on a character's face, transitions, panoramic shots, the use of slow motion to convey emotion. Everything is here to make this film look great, and they did a damn good job of showing the world what they had learned and what they could do. This film gets a solid A for presentation. Now, the characters are all good, but I'm mostly going to focus on the protagonist and the antagonist because most of the supporting characters are static and have the same personality. Jong-ae absolutely steals the spotlight, not just with her stunning beauty, but her incredible acting. I can feel the emotion she conveys when she cares for the kids, even when Un-Jong shuns her. I know she sincerely cares about them and is prepared to take on the role of a mother to them and bring some semblance of normalcy back to their family. She is kind and loving in a way that presents itself as genuine. She isn't perfect, but she's a true gentle soul, the kind of woman someone meets only once in a lifetime, yet leaves a lasting memory throughout. She's not only this movie's face, but more importantly,
이
she's the
자전건
movie's
우리
heart
비혼장
as
노릇
well.
세상이야.
A true testament to the benevolent nature of the human soul. I feel for Un-Jong as well. She's another fantastic, well-written character. Her speech to Jong-Ae about never being able to replace a mother struck a chord with me personally, having lost a parent myself. I understood and felt her pain to a degree. For a moment, her pain was my pain as well. She wants to take care of her siblings and love them and feels threatened by Jong-Ae, while at the same time she's just a baby herself and needs a mother too. And with Jong-Ae's unrelenting kindness, hard work, and loving spirit, she slowly but surely begins to trust Jong-Ae and accepts her into the family. Terrific character, and a perfect example of an antagonist that one can come to terms with. And it's not just that this film doesn't look like a North Korean movie, but more importantly, it doesn't feel like a North Korean movie, at least for the first half. When the actors speak to each other, it feels natural. When Jong-ae cries out that she loves Un-Jong regardless of whether she hates her or not, or when Un-Jong laments that Jong-ae can never be a mother to her, it feels real. I feel Un-Jong's pain even though I myself have never experienced it. I sympathize with both Jong-ae and Un-Jong. I genuinely want everything to work out for the best. For the first half of the movie, I was invested into these characters' lives. I felt their pain. I hurt. And then the second half of the film comes down like a pile of bricks and just destroys it with ridiculous, out of place propaganda. And that's the sole factor that disappoints me so much about this movie. They had the chance to make a great film, a true heart-wrenching, emotionally gripping film about a young woman who gives up her whole future to care for these kids who need her the most. And they had the fucking ball and dropped it. If the second half had been anything like the first half, this would absolutely have been the best North Korean film by far, surpassing every other film I've reviewed by a mile. I'm not trying to say that there isn't propaganda in the first half. There is. It's just the way that it's portrayed in the first half is a lot more subtle. It's not some robotic speech when Jong-ae tells Un-Jong about Kim Jong-un's campaign to help orphan children. It's a lot more casual, like said in a way to let someone know that people care, like, hey, the president's doing a lot to work on that, Normal conversation. This method was perfect. It pays homage to the regime, like is required for all films of this nature, but not so obviously scripted as to turn off a foreign audience. This is how the second half should have been.
이 길은
But no, of course not. That wasn't enough. They couldn't be subtle, evidently. They had to absolutely ruin this otherwise great story by including thanking Kim Jong-un and the Workers' Party of Korea for everything and how they have the greatest country in the world. They don't even let Jong-ae have the ending to herself. No! The two closing scenes are Jong-ae's diabetic mother crying over how Kim Jong-un touched her hand, and Jong-ae writing about the dear motherfucking leader in their diary. Why? Why couldn't our heroine have the ending she deserved? She's the one who actually fucking earned it, not fucking Kim Jong-un. I know I'm beating a dead horse at this point, but I have to express my discontent somehow. Why couldn't this movie be like a traffic controller on Crossroads? There's almost no propaganda in that film. Why take the time to construct all of these scenes which cause us to build these emotional connections we've established with these characters if you're just going to throw it all away and dedicate the last 20 minutes of the film to the Workers' Party of Korea? It makes no sense. It's like the film was handed off to the propaganda department midway through, and it angers me to no end. I feel almost betrayed by this film. Everything was there. The story, the acting, the raw, pure, unfiltered emotion, the dialogue, it was all there. All the ingredients to make a perfectly modern movie that would stand tall even among its contemporary films in the South. And the propaganda just takes it all away and crushes what would have made for an absolute milestone in North Korean cinema. I genuinely wanted to like this movie. I do like this movie. I mean, I almost like it like I like Western movies. It was almost a movie I would watch a second time. And no, I probably will watch it a second time, and I've never done that with any other North Korean movie before. This film is good, but it could have been so much more than that. It's the wasted potential that keeps this film from being a truly great film. It's like watching your favorite team in the championships absolutely dominate the first half, only to lose their momentum and get crushed the second half. It leaves you sitting there dumbfounded, wondering what just happened. You can't believe it. Everything was there, everything was going great. What went wrong? That's the best example that I can give for how this movie makes me feel. I mean, we get to see some cool things about North Korea in 2016 as well, like the cell phone Jong-Ae uses, which seems to run an older version of Android OS. I use iPhone mostly, so I don't not really up to date on Android, but it looks like an older build. Or the fact that her father uses a Bluetooth headset while driving. There is an abundance of food in every scene involving eating, but honestly, that isn't as important in 2016 as it was in 1996. The arduous march is long over, and the average North Korean has much greater access to food now than they did 20 years ago. Although food insecurity remains an issue, it's nowhere near the problem it was in the 1990s, so I'm not even really going to count this. So while this film does exhibit cool, interesting tidbits of information, unfortunately, it's the exception and not the rule. There isn't really much else this film tells us about North Korea in 2016, and that's a bit of a letdown. All in all, I absolutely recommend this film. I know it sounds like I'm hating on it, but I promise you, the parts of the movie that are good are very, very, very good. It's just the preachy propaganda at the second half that really disappoints me. It's amazing in its own right. Has it improved from North Korean films of the past? I wish my answer was an unequivocal yes, but sadly it's more of a sort of. The production values are leaps and bounds greater than anything of the past, which is to be expected. The acting is natural, clean, and for the most part well delivered and believable. However, the core tenets of every North Korean film, that being praise given to the existing regime and the leader, seem to be as present as ever in modern North Korean cinema. And that's just what let me down the most, as I'm sure it did to every other North Korean film enthusiast out there. But don't just take my word for it. This film is a must watch. So please watch this incredible film and tell me what you think, because I want to hear your opinions as well. This is Jesse from Tulsan Yonghwa Review, everyone. Have a wonderful day.
언니!
은조가